In today's video, I'm going to show you how to cook perfect shrimp. We're going to poach it, we're going to pan fry it, and I'll show you the chef's secret to get it right every single time. Let's get right into this video. Follow along. Now, before we get into how to cook perfect shrimp every time, I just thought I would add that shrimp go bad really fast. They're very delicate little creatures, so I always prefer to buy shrimp frozen versus fresh because I don't know how long they've been sitting around the grocery store. Now, another thing is when you pick up a bag of frozen shrimp, always look at the ingredients. You don't want any weird preservatives in there like tripolyphosphate or other words that you can't pronounce. Like this one here has shrimp, water, and salt, and that's about all you want in there. You don't want anything extra. To keep the freshness right when you're ready to use your shrimp, you just thaw them out in a bowl and start running them under cold tap water. Once you see the water start slopping over the side of the bowl, let the water run just a little bit of a trickle just to keep that water circulating in and out of the bowl, and that's going to let them thaw out a little bit faster. Here's the chef's secret that I want to share with you guys: how to poach shrimp perfectly every single time. Shrimp is made up of really delicate protein, which means that it cooks really quickly. But it also means that it overcooks really quickly, leaving you with stringy, tough, rubbery shrimp. So we want to cook them to exactly 145 degrees, and that ensures that your shrimp is tender and succulent and juicy. So here's the technique. We start with a half-filled pot of cold water. Now, in Florida, you can't really get cold water out of the tap, but my point is you don't do it with warm water and you don't do it with hot water. You start with cold water. This is a very important rule to follow, and you'll see why at the end of this technique. What you put in this water will flavor the shrimp. So I'm going to start by adding some salt to the water, and I'm also going to add equal parts sugar. Next, I'm going to add my shrimp, and I'm making sure that they're nice and cold. So you want cold water and cold shrimp. Now I have my pot on the stove. I've got my meat thermometer, and I've set the stove to medium high. We're going to bring this up to temperature, and we're going to keep stirring these shrimp as we do this because we want to keep checking the temperature of the water as we go along. So as this cooks, every minute or two, I'm going to keep stirring the water and stirring the shrimp. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep the temperature of the water even, and I'm going to be able to keep measuring it to make sure we don't go over 160 degrees on the water. Because I know that as soon as that water hits 160 degrees Fahrenheit, those shrimp will be a perfect 145 degrees. Alright, so a few minutes later, I'm still stirring the water. I can see steam starting to form. I can see the shrimp starting to change color. So I'm going to take my thermometer once again and take a little measure and see what the water's at. So here we go. We're getting close, about 135 degrees. All right, remember, we can't go over 160, so you got to keep watching this. And here we're checking once again, and we are there. Okay, 160. Let's take these shrimp out really quickly and cool them off. All right, working really quickly now with my spider. I'm going to scoop out all the shrimp and put them into my cooling bowl, which I will put in the sink, and we'll run some cold water to get these things cooled off right away so they stop cooking. And what we end up with is some perfectly cooked shrimp here on the left. As soon as that water came up to 160 degrees, our shrimp reached 145 degrees and cooked perfectly. See, they're actually shaped in the letter C, which will give you a clue. C is for cooked. Okay, so you can always look at a shrimp and you want the letter C for cooked. Now over here, we have some purposely overcooked shrimp, and they just happen to be the letter O. And O will tell you that they're overcooked. Okay, so we have perfectly cooked and we have overcooked right over here. These are rubbery, stringy. These are soft, juicy, delicious. So now you know the chef's secret. If you bring the water up to 160, your shrimp will automatically be cooked at 145 and will have a perfect texture. So these poached shrimp would be ideal for cold shrimp dishes like shrimp cocktail. Alright, up next, I'm going to show you how to pan fry shrimp without overcooking them. Now, these shrimp are going to cook to a bit of a higher temperature than poached shrimp, but because we're marinating them first and coating them with a little bit of oil, they're still going to be juicy and tender. So we have our shrimp that we just defrosted, and I'm going to put them in a bowl. Now, I'm just going to add some salt to them, And what the salt's going to do is it's going to relax the protein. It's going to tenderize them just a little bit. So I'm just going to let this sit for 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, and that's going to enhance their flavor. It's going to draw a little bit of water out of the shrimp, and it's going to help them brown quicker. So I'm going to let them sit with the sugar for about 5 minutes. Now after 5 minutes, I'm just going to take some paper towel and I'm going to swish it all in there and try to blot out as much of that water out of the shrimp as I can, because when we pan fry them, we want to actually fry them, not boil them. So the drier they can be, the better this is going to turn out. And once they're dry, I'm just going to toss a little bit of olive oil in there, and I'm going to toss the shrimp in the olive oil. And up next, I have a heavy nonstick pan with a nice thick bottom, because you know what they say, thick bottom pans make the world go round. And not only that, the thick bottom actually radiates the heat and distributes it evenly, and it actually holds the heat longer. Okay, so you want a nice thick bottomed pan. I got my cold shrimp, and what I'm going to do here is just start laying down the shrimp. But you'll notice that I'm laying them down on a cold pan, first of all, because when you drop the shrimp into a hot pan, the muscle fibers contract and so they get a little tough. So in this way, we're starting the pan out cold. We're starting the shrimp out cold. It's going to heat up gradually, and that's going to help it cook properly. Also, you'll notice that I'm not stacking any shrimp on top of each other. They're all on a flat single layer, and this is very important. Now I've put my pan on the stove. I've turned the heat up to medium high, and this is going to take about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, during this time, the temperature is going to come up, and I'm going to start to hear that sizzle that these shrimp are going to start to make. And now around the 4-minute mark, I'm going to turn one over just to take a little look there. And as soon as I see a little bit of browning, I'm going to take my tongs, and one by one, I'm going to start flipping them all over. Okay, you got to turn each one around on its other side. You can do this pretty quickly. Okay, I'm using plastic tongs so that I don't damage the nonstick coating on my pan. And then once I have them all flipped over, I actually move them off the heat to another part of the stove that's cold. And I'm just going to let the residual heat of the pan actually finish cooking these. So this is going to take maybe another 2 minutes or so. And this is where that thick bottom really comes in handy, because that thick bottom is holding in all that extra heat in the pan. And that's going to cook them really nice and slow and bring them up to a temperature where they're not overcooked, but they're perfect. And here we go. Let's take these to the plate. We have these beautiful, perfectly cooked pan-fried shrimp. They're not overcooked. They're not undercooked. And once you use this technique, you'll realize how easy it is to get shrimp right. Now, in this particular video, there's like a million different ways that you can season these shrimp. So this isn't necessarily a recipe. This is a technique. But to make these look nice, and because I know everybody behind me wants to eat them right now, I'm going to put a little bit of kickin' chicken seasoning, which you guys know I use in a lot of my videos. It's one of my favorite spice blends. I got some limes in there, and I'm going to add a few little flowers just to make it really visually appealing, because we eat with our eyes first. All right, so here we have our nice plate of pan-fried shrimp. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching this video. And I want to thank you guys for your support, for helping me grow this channel. So if you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Let me know how you guys like your shrimp. And don't forget to subscribe. Your subscriptions are what keep this channel going and helps me make more videos. Also, share this video with someone that you love. Somebody that loves shrimp. You can share it with somebody you love. That's fine too. All right, guys. I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Happy shrimping to you.